Hey guys, I'm Dav, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 tournament action. Yes, indeed, we're back with the Total War Fantasy League Qualifier number 2. We're going to jump straight to the finals on this one since the Tomb Kings patch is coming out in just a couple days here. I want to get through as many of these replays as possible, so today I'm going to be doing the entire finals series, which, as you guys know from before, is a best-of-5 series, and this one, spoiler alert, does indeed go to all 5 games. So, strap yourselves in. This is going to be a little bit more of a long-form video than what you guys are used to from me, but I hope you guys enjoy it. This series was fought between Spaniard and RomulanDawg. So Spaniard is going to be the home team with the green, and RomulanDawg will be with the red. Spaniard this time has got Warriors of Chaos, and RomulanDawg is taking the green skins. So let's go ahead and jump to the army compositions. Got Kolek Suneater for the Lord for the Forces of Chaos here, as well as a Death Sorcerer. He's carrying Fate of Unit and Spirit Leech, as is typical. In terms of an infantry corps, we've got quite a few warriors with great weapons. Looks like 3 warriors with great weapons here in the corps, make that 4. A couple regular Chaos Warriors out on each flank. Looks like one on each flank there, and another Chaos Marauder as well. We've got a couple of Armored Trolls, which is very interesting, and the more tournament replays I watch of Chaos, the more I see these Armored Trolls being used, especially juiced up with some chevrons to give them a bit more leadership and melee defense. Could potentially do a lot of damage, as we have seen, so I'm interested to see how they perform here. And that's pretty much it. It's a pretty bog basic Chaos Rush army. Not too much going on. I do believe we have, what is this, a couple of Marauder Horsemen kind of trolling around in here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. For the green skins, we've got Azag the Slaughterer, of course, Spirit Leech and Fate of Unit. And it looks like, yeah, that's pretty much it for him. We've also got Mangy Marauders, Force Goblin Spider Rider Archers. We've also got another unit of Wolf Riders out here for a nice mobile skirmish force. Main line is going to be 3 Black Orcs. We've got Savage Orc Biggin on each flank. The Savage Orc Biggins do carry the Frenzy as well as the physical resistance of the Savage Orcs. However, they do not have any armor. That being said, they are much more of an offensively focused, damage dealer type, and with the anti-large bonus and their massive weapon strength, they can do a lot of damage to large targets. Also got a Gobble Firing Squad here with the Rusty Heirs, another unit of Goblin Archers, and some Spider Riders supporting a unit of Orc Boar Biggins. No Broken Tusk Mob, just the regular Orc Boar Biggins. Also got a few Gobbos mixed in here. Looks like a unit of Night Goblins up front. These are the Unbreakable 8-Peak Loonies here. And we've also got another Meat Shield Goblin out in front. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and kick straight into this first replay here. So, Chaos is going to be doing what Chaos does and just rushing straight up the pipe. RomulanDawg's going to be trying to screen out as best he can with this mobile skirmisher detachment here. They're kind of poking away at Kolek right now, not honestly doing too much damage. The Mangy Marauders are the only unit out of any of these guys that will do a substantial amount of damage. That being said, the poison is nice, and it kind of slows the advance a little bit, and, you know, poking away at Kolek can be useful, but they're just going to really struggle to make any kind of meaningful damage there. But, you know, Kolek can't heal, so any damage you do to him will be true and honest damage, so, you know, anytime you can poke away at him over the course of a long battle, it definitely can be very helpful. You can see Azag is potentially taking a couple of Spirit Leeches, I believe. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I believe I saw that template popping up earlier, but, yep, looks like trading some more Spirit Leeches here. So, pretty typical of what we've seen before from Lore of Death, nothing too surprising there. But, yeah, these shielded Chaos Marauders being placed in a very nice position here, just right in front of the entire line here, being able to screen out a lot of this missile fire here. Very, very useful. These Chaos Warriors with great weapons would otherwise take quite a bit of damage, at least from the Rusty Heirs here. The other units would kind of be able to poke away at them a little bit, but let's see if he's going to release any Fanatics here. Nope, looks like no Fanatics. He is going to be dodging out of the way, and then potentially looking to release the Fanatics over this way, perhaps. It does look like he's now going to be releasing there, and actually releasing the Fanatics sidelong into that unit of Chaos Marauders, doing a massive amount of damage, and also going to be catching a bit of these Chaos Warriors with great weapons as well, doing a little bit of damage to them. Very nice play there. You can see some more Spirit Leeches going off all across the board. Gobbo Firing Squad is going to be opening up, though, doing some nice damage initially to those Chaos Warriors. Looks like their armor is going to be sundered. They're going to be taken out big time by the Savage Orc Biggins. This is one thing about firing into friendly engagements with the Rusty Heirs, is they're going to potentially sunder the armor of your own units. You can see that these Black Orcs are down to only 80 armor, so that's a little bit rough. But if you're using the Savage Orcs, for example, you can fire in, and because Savage Orcs have 0 armor, it really doesn't matter for them if their armor is sundered that much. But Azag coming over here, giving all these troops a wog in this little pocket here, also dropping a quick terror bomb, routing off these Chaos Warriors and allowing those Savage Orcs to chase him down. It does look like to be, you know, pretty even battle so far, honestly, all things considered. Greenskins have lost some forces. Gabbo's obviously fleeing through the main line here, but Savage Orc Biggins going to be running up, getting a hold of some of these trolls. They'll be able to probably rout off these trolls. That being said, these Chaos Warriors are soaking quite a bit of that damage there. And having this Chaos Trolls standing on top of a unit of heavy infantry definitely makes them a lot better. You can see all across the line, Black Orcs doing very well against Chaos Warriors with Grey Weapons, unsurprisingly. Azag has taken quite a bit of damage, though, from repeated Spirit Leeches, and, you know, just anytime he dives down, he's potentially going to take damage from Kolek as well. The Gabbo firing squad is opening up on Kolek. You can see just fire pouring in from the Rusty Arrows. All these other units here just firing away at Kolek. He still does have quite a bit of armor, even Sundered. He's still got 70 armor and 25% missile resistance. But yeah, he's still a very, very powerful force to be reckoned with, but taking damage, no doubt. Now going to be bringing in the Orc Boar Biggins just to pin him in place, make sure he stays right where he is. They're going to be doing a little bit of armor-piercing anti-large damage, but they will take quite a bit of damage in here as well. But you can see now Kolek's infantry support is gone. He's all alone here, and we do have some more Fanatics being released, going through these Marauder Horsemen here, and let's see if they're able to actually kill any of them. They actually did not the most damage. It looks like they're more effective against infantry, certainly. But without the infantry support here, these trolls are going to start taking quite a bit of damage, even though Black Orcs are not necessarily an anti-large unit. They still have, you know, 50 total weapon strength, so they'll make solid contact and put those trolls down. But they are taking quite a bit of damage in return. You can see all these Black Orcs have, you know, been tattered pretty severely by those trolls. There are still a few groups of healthy Chaos Infantry here as well. But things are starting to look in favor of the Greenskins a little bit here. We've still got quite a bit of battle left. Kolek is still alive here and slugging away at these Orc Boar Biggins. Some beautiful bloody combat here. Another Spirit Leech being dropped by Azag as well. It's going to be a pretty precarious situation for Kolek. He's taking that Gabbo missile fire. Azag's diving now into combat. This is incredibly risky, though. Azag himself is very, very low. Only 1 or 2 hits on him from Kolek's going to put him down. So, yeah, you can see this combat's going to be absolutely clutch here. Azag pulling away at the last moment after taking a nasty hit there. Only got about 1,000 HP left. Likewise, Kolek's at about 1,000 HP. But just continuous, relentless fire from those Gabbos who are still being held in reserve, held safe by these Night Gabbos here, and just the units keeping these this flanking Chaos Force at bay here. There's quite a few units stacked up, and although you do definitely want the Chaos Warriors standing on another unit, you could maybe potentially try and push through with one of these other units of Chaos Warriors, but obviously, most of his micro right now is focused on Kolek, who actually just barely routed here, and it looks to be fleeing off the battlefield. He hopefully will survive here. If he doesn't survive, that's pretty much going to be it for the Forces of Chaos in this first battle. But yeah, let's see what happens. It's still pretty close, all things considered. You can see the balance of power may be climbing back slightly in the favor of Chaos. They do still have some healthy troops fighting here, but there's just so much left for the Greenskins. All these mobile cavalry forces, although they don't, you know, aren't armor-piercing rather, or anti-infantry, they, you know, they can still do impact damage on the charge. They're still all relatively fresh as well in terms of vigor. You can see these guys are fresh here, whereas a lot of these melee infantry are going to be, yeah, very tired. So potential rear charges from these light cavalry in a late game situation like this can be pretty devastating, especially when your morale is shaky from losing your leadership. You can see Kolek is fleeing fleeing quickly towards the side of the battlefield, actually just rallied there, but if he comes back, it's going to be really rough. That being said, balance of power starting to climb back in the favor of Chaos here. You can see trolls coming in for a nice little kind of cycle charge here. The light infantry did just get a rear charge, as I was describing. But the trolls now coming in for a charge here. If they are able to hold their leadership, they can potentially do a lot of damage here. You can see the Black Orcs are pretty much gone at this point. There's not a whole lot of ammo. Only this unit of Night Goblins, regular Goblin Archers, just has a little bit of ammo, as well as these Spider Riders just used the last of theirs. So he's been able to weather most of the missiles of the Greenskins here. But the question is, will the leadership of these Chaos Trolls hold out? And it does look like he's actually pulling the balance of power back in his favor a little bit here. I'm not sure where Azag got off to. He must have got just so low and routed. But yeah, it looks like he did actually rout off the side of the battle. Oh no, just barely came back. Super clutch there. So yeah, it ended up being a lot closer than it initially looked for the Chaos Forces here. These trolls coming in with the regeneration, regrouped in the second and third quarter here, definitely doing a lot of damage, fighting up against these Spider Riders. Poison is going to be a little rough here, so the leadership will falter, but yeah, it's really tough to say at this point. The balance of power shifting wildly back towards the Greenskins' favor as those trolls rout away. You can see now it's probably going to be a GG for the Forces of Chaos there. And Kolek probably just shattered at that moment, and that's what caused that spike in the balance of power. So we'll go ahead and fast forward through the end phase here as the Greenskins kind of clean things up. Still very, very good battle, well played to both players, and a great preview of what you guys have in store from the rest of the series. So we'll go ahead and do a quick analysis of the balance of power and then jump straight to game 2. So well played to both players, definitely. RomulanDawg, for him, Black Orcs doing very well in the main line here, just staying patient there despite the spikes in the balance of power. Trolls doing very, very well, though, those armored trolls. Chaos Warriors with great weapons also performing admirably, considering they're facing primarily up against Black Orcs. Biggins, though, 92 kills, 2 XP chevrons, great job with these guys. And yeah, that mobile firing squad plus the Gobbo firing squad just really, really was the key here, I think, to taking down, you know, Kolek, and it was able to at least keep the Trolls' leadership low enough that they didn't do enough damage to swing the battle completely in Spaniard's favor. They definitely could have, but let's go ahead and jump to game 2 and see how things shake up. So in game 2, you can see Spaniard's got the vampire counts. RomulanDawg has taken the Beastmen. Spaniard's going to be rocking the Red Duke, 4 zombies, 3 skeleton spears, 4 Graveguard, 2 Fellbats, a Mortis Engine, and 2 Vargulfs. So lots of big monsters. I'd imagine the Red Duke's going to be on a black zombie dragon, rather. For RomulanDawg, he's got Malagor the Dark Omen, a Gorbel, 1 Ungor Spearman, looks like 2 Bestigor, as well as 2 Gorherds with shields, 4 Centaurs with throwing axes, which is a great pick, and 2 Giants, which I also think is a great pick in this matchup. So 2 melee-centric rush builds, so I'd imagine these two are just going to kind of run together and mash on each other. The only real ranged unit here is the Centaurs, the throwing axes, which are a very powerful unit, and even cycle charges, you know, in on some of these lighter troops, like the Grave Guards, rear charges into the Skeleton Spearmen, and so forth, can potentially do a lot of damage here. So let's see how things go. Right off the bat, you can see these Centaurs are going to be spotted by these zombies shuffling through the woods here. They could potentially get a quick charge and then pull away, but he is going to have to be careful. There's a Fellbat support around, and if the Centaurs try and pull away while the Fellbats are pursuing them, they'll take quite a bit of damage. They'd obviously just stomp the Fellbats in melee, but it does look like a quick charge going to be coming in from the Centaurs, and they're going to be immediately pulling away. But like I was saying, the Fellbats quickly responding here, going to be kind of screening and zoning out these Centaurs here. You can see Spaniard's doing a really nice job kind of keeping one over on this side, one over on this side to try and kind of corral here. He is going to be able to catch these Centaurs a little bit. Honestly, these Centaurs should probably just turn around and fight. This other group should probably, yeah, exactly what he should be doing, just charging in here. The bats honestly are not that sturdy in melee. Granted, any damage that you do take from the bats is going to be really bad value. You can see this one unit of Centaurs is actually taking a surprising amount of damage, owing to the fact that the Fellbats have a lot of unit models and a very fast attack animations. They are taking a surprising amount of damage here, but he is going to wisely pull away here as the zombie support and Vargulfs and all that is incoming, so definitely does not want to take that engagement. RomulanDawg now going to be pulling away here. Red Duke does look like he's up on the dragon. Let's go ahead and look at his spell loadout briefly here. Looks like Invocation of the Heck and Raise Dead, so basic spell loadout. He's also got the Charmed Shield, of course, Elsif, Dragon Breath, all the goodies here. And in terms of Malagor, I'd imagine he's carrying probably, let's see, Traderkin actually and Devolve. Very interesting. So no Cygor summons, just looking for that pure AoE magic damage, which is very interesting. Potentially hoping that the vampires will blob up around the giants, and yeah, I can definitely see where that he's going with that strategy. You can see this unit of zombies has been cycle charged a couple times as well by the Centaurs, and they are crumbling. The Fellbats were over busy dealing with these units, who are now going to be taking advantage of their absence to once again come in for cycle charging. So very nice early play. Although it may not seem like a lot to get rid of these zombies, getting rid of the chaff units before the mainline engagement starts means the Beastmen infantry, which you know, generally have very good charge bonuses, are going to be able to get cleaner charges on some of the more high value units of infantry. So I definitely like this tactic of trying to clear out these zombies as much as possible early on. They have done quite a bit of damage to a few groups here. Looks like 2 groups, 3 groups actually, very, very low. So really nice work clearing out that chaff early on. Let's see if he's able to capitalize here. We'll be doing another charge in. This time, Gorbel's here for support, as well as Malagor's running in here, all angry as well, going all kinds of hog wild, as the Beastmen like to do. And it looks like quite a few Graveguard going to be tossed in on this fight. He's just trying to wear these Centaurs down. Obviously, they don't have armor-piercing melee attacks, but they are going to be easily pulling away here and just kind of chucking some axes into these Graveguard. They might do a little bit of work, but the Graveguard do have silver shields. But you can see the main line engagement getting underway in earnest now. This Giant is going to be letting these Graveguard know all about his bad breath. And yeah, just Ungors all across the line getting engaged here. The Vargulfs both blobbing in one location, but that's probably smart. But you can see this big, nasty devolve here. Trader can actually 24% speed debuff and magic damage is going to be really nice. And the more that Spaniard blobs up here, the worse it's going to get with that devolve. You can see him dropping that AoE invocation. Heck, very nice, keeping all these troops healed, but immediately being responded with the devolve there. So it's kind of a tit for tat in terms of the magic, mostly just being used to negate the healing effects of the vampires, which I really like. You can see we've got a bit of a monster mash going down here in the center with the two Giants just pounding on the Vargulfs here as they try and spring the Red Duke loose. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see in a straight-up fight. I think the Giants would probably win that, but granted, they are kind of saturated by the skeleton spears right now and getting distracted. You can see their attack animations are kind of going wonky. And Gorbel, man, getting punted around. And poor Gorbel, you guys are going to see in a couple games this series, Gorbel's mass is laughably tiny for how large he is. He gets punted around more than any other monstrous-sized unit. Look at that. Oh my gosh, just gets absolutely just punted by that Vargulf there, and it's bad, guys. Hopefully they buff Gorbel's mass. I know they said they're looking at some of the massive single model entities, so hopefully Gorbel gets a mass buff, because that's a little bit silly in my opinion, but you know, all good. You can see the devolve blob going down in earnest here. A lot of the Beastmen infantry have crumbled away, unsurprisingly, just due to the overwhelming numbers of the vampires. They're just able to get continuous rear charges here, but it has forced a massive blob of vampire units here, so as long as Malagor can stay healthy and alive, he should be able to get some fat devolves and Traderkins in here. The throwing axes also doing exactly what they should, throwing their axes at this Mortis engine, trying to take it down, take out that healing. You can see that extended duration devolve, just massacring all these units. I mean, it doesn't do that much damage at the end of the day. It does a solid amount of damage, but just the value he's getting from casting it on so many units at the same time here, it's just absolutely awesome. The Giants are also relatively healthy as well. Gorbel's taking a little bit of damage. They're all just kind of standing in this tight little pocket together, which is smart. He doesn't want to take too much damage. The Vargulfs are kind of poking away here. Red Dukes also come down, and it does look like one Giant is going to potentially go down here. Or no, he just got knocked down. He's just taking a little nap. He's fine, guys. Don't worry. Yeah, the Mortis engine wisely just pulling to the other side of the battlefield, not wanting to be exposed to too much of that throwing axe fire. The Velbat surprisingly still alive somehow, just harassing these Centaurs on the side continuously, not allowing them to really, you know, be as effective as they could be. But this big blob engagement here is really where the battle's going to be decided for the most part. Malagor is probably got Elseef on him. Yep, looks like Elseef, and he is going to be directly targeted by the Red Duke. That being said, the Giants are also taking a lot of damage, and Malagor's just continuously getting knocked around, so he's probably not taking that much damage at the end of the day, just getting punted mostly. But yeah, the Giants are the ones mainly taking the damage here. At this point, you can see the Vargulfs with the regeneration and everything, despite all the damage that's been done to them, are very healthy here. The Mortis engine as well is getting close to its healing cap, but it has been able to get to its healing cap, which in and of itself is very important. He's been able to keep it alive long enough to heal it, so the Red Duke also at his healing cap, so very, very effective with the heals here from Spaniard, just making sure he's perpetually getting those heals. Gorbel, though, looks like he's just about cornered the Red Duke here, and a very nice little play to bring in the Centaurs here to keep the Red Duke pinned to the ground. And it looks like Gorbel was maybe changing his targeting, but he really needs to stay on this Red Duke here. The Red Duke's going to use his charge animation to push through this formation and block with the Mortis engine here to block up those Centaurs with throwing axes and pull away from this fight, which he definitely needed to. He was taking a lot of damage there, down to only 2,400 hit points. These Centaurs with throwing axes still have quite a bit of ammo as well, so if they start pitching their throwing axes into the Red Duke, it could potentially be a really bad day. Looks like a Dragon Breath going down, going to be hitting that Giant potentially. That did a pretty solid amount of damage, all things considered. Both these giants now are almost dead, and it's suddenly things are looking really scary for the Beastmen. You can see the balance of power is tipped very much so in Spaniard's favor, and despite the rear charges here from the Centigors with throwing axes, it is looking to probably be a vampire victory at this point. There's still about a minute of battle left, but Gorbel, you know, might be able to finish off this Red Duke here. Red Duke's also taking a few swipes from the giant before it goes down there. Giants thankfully have good enough leadership that they'll usually fight to the death here, but yeah, the Red Duke not quite taking any damage. Looks like his melee defense helped him in that swipe, but that giant going down. The other giant is also down now. Gorbel's still got some health left, but Gorbel just really has a hard time with the mass thing and just getting punted by those angry Vargulfs there, just smacked around, just bouncing here and there and off the Mortis engine and everything. So really rough day for Gorbel. Poor little guy. All he wants to do is just make people happy and, you know, decapitate all humans. So the Vargulfs, one of them does look like it's at its healing cap. The other one probably not even close yet. Yeah, it's still got quite a bit of healing cap left to go, honestly. And that does look like it'll be the end for the Beastmen. So far, the series is 1-1 for RomulanDawg and Spaniard, both winning a game here. And yeah, Spaniard pulling things out there in the end. It was potentially looking very, very scary for him. You can see RomulanDawg, these Centigors with throwing axes, performed very, very well. 2 XP chevrons and 106 kills on this giant here. The tail of the tape was just really not being able to finish off the Red Duke in that Mortis engine. If he was able to do one or the other, he probably could have brought the game back, because the Vargulfs were really relying on that Mortis engine and you know, the Red Duke for leadership support and additional healing and everything. So a really tight game, well played to both players. So let's go ahead and jump straight to game 3. And we'll go ahead and load this up. This time it's going to be Spaniard with the Beastmen up against RomulanDawg's Skaven. So we've got Malagor once again, double Gorbel, 4 regular Ungors, interestingly enough, 3 Ungor Spearman Herd, 4 Bestigor, 3 regular Centigors, and 2 Chaos regular Hounds. We've got a Grey Seer, probably going to be on the cart. In addition, we've got a let's see, a Plague Priest, probably on the cart as well. We've got 4 Skaven Slaves, 2 Skaven Slave Spears, 4 Clan Rats, 3 Plague Monks, 4 Rat Ogres, and 1 Doom Wheel. So a pretty powerful Skaven Rush type army. No range shenanigans from the Skaven, just looking to get in there and, you know, get nice and bloody with the Beastmen, which is definitely going to be fun. And as you can see from the deployment here, Spaniard's gone for a heavy Vanguard strategy, just getting a full surround on the Skaven right off the bat, which is going to be very interesting considering that the Skaven have brought more of a rush type army. It does mean that from the get-go he's going to be facing, you know, pressure from all angles potentially, which is going to be very interesting. So let's see how RomulanDawg reacts to the situation here. So far, just pushing forward altogether, not really too phased by the Vanguard shenanigans going on here, but the Ungor Spearman Herd, I believe, do have stock. Yes, they do, so I'm not sure. It does not say they're hidden currently. I believe they have been spotted at this point, but they were potentially hidden there for the first part of the battle. Excuse me. And let's go ahead and fast forward just a little bit here as the armies march towards each other, and the Doom Wheel looks like it's coming in for some early charges. I did see a Cygor rock flying through the air, so it does look like Malagor has summoned up a Cygor. And let's go ahead and just quickly take a look at his spell loadout here. It looks like he's just got the Cygor summon. The Plague Priest has, let's go ahead and just put things, we'll keep it in fast motion here. I can go ahead and just mouse over. We've got the Plague Monk summon, looks like a regular Clan Rat summon, and the Pestilent Breath. For this guy, it looks like he's carrying Warp Lightning, the Unholy Clamor, which is the bound spell of his cart, and yeah, Scorch as well. So lots of AoE effects. Looks like a nice Plague Blast going down there, and yeah, you can see the Skaven Rush has cleaned up this Bestigor pretty effectively. Meanwhile, though, on the other hand, this flank is very much going in the favor of the Beastmen. You can see the Vanguard forces are starting to catch up now and mop up a lot of the chaff units on the periphery. Malagor still very healthy, just kind of chilling with his Cygor buddy here, who's content to just throw rocks into this mainline engagement here. And yeah, the Beastmen will take a beating here. Rat Ogres do a lot of damage, and you know, Plague Monks can potentially do a lot of damage here as well, although they won't be as good against things like, you know, Vestigore and so on. You can see a Plague Monk being summoned here in the back line, probably looking to get on these Centigores, or else, yep, looks like they're going for the Cygor. Oh, no, being retargeted on the Centigores. They'll take a lot of shock damage, though, with the Centigores getting that counter charge there. You can see the Skaven are pushing through pretty effectively on a lot of fronts. However, some places being held up, the double Gorbals in the center being tossed around. Once again, they really struggle with the mass, and this match really shows that. You guys will watch them just get punted around by this hoopty cart there, just bouncing off, you know, those rat ogres and everything. It's really unfortunate, but well, it does look like Gorbal's not getting any. There we go. He got a chop in there. So they are going to be able to eventually wear down this Grey Seer potentially, but they are getting tossed around quite a bit. It's a bit rough. The Beastman backline has been compromised pretty heavily, but the Vanguard forces now coming in the second quarter, kind of mopping things up. Clan Rats continuing to get mopped up on the periphery. We've got Plague Monks as well taking quite a bit of damage, although these Ungor Herd now with the support of those Rat Ogres, or actually looks like Rat Ogres are potentially going after Gorbal here, which, I mean, even though somehow the Rat Ogres are much smaller than Gorbal, they're able to easily just knock him over, and funny enough, even like a Goblin Great Shaman on a Spider is able to knock over Gorbal, which doesn't really make sense to me, but, you know, like I was saying, hopefully they address that in the patch. Looks like another Cygor being summoned up here. So Malagor really getting his value, or no, that's the same Cygor. He was just knocked to the ground there. But I'd imagine he's going to be summoning another Cygor relatively soon here. Another really nice breath spell from the Skaven. Might have actually done a little bit of friendly fire there, but helped clear out quite a bit of those Ungor Herd. But yeah, things are honestly looking pretty grim for the Beastmen at this point. The Skaven Rush has been effective so far. The Chaos Warhounds and these Ungor Herd trying to work through the last of these Plague Monks here, but the Rat Ogres are making that situation pretty difficult. Gorbal is standing here after losing his attack order, no doubt, after getting punted around. This Gorbal is getting punted around by the Doom Wheel here and the Grey Seer. Bit rough, but Malagor has now summoned up a second Cygor here. There are some Skaven units going to be coming in and trying to support. But Rat Ogres, I don't believe, are actually immune to Psychology. They do have Frenzy, but they're not baseline immune to Psychology, I don't think. So yeah, they're going to be... But they don't even have Frenzy, so yeah, they're going to be susceptible to Terror, and it does look like they do indeed Terror out in the face of that Cygor there. Now the Skaven are in a little bit of a dangerous situation. The Cygor is going to spike the balance of power back in the Beastman's favor. They're going to have to be careful not to lose leadership during this time, and especially with having a big, juicy blob for the Cygor to shoot into. It's going to be rough. You can see the Rat Ogres once again just temporarily distracting that Cygor, which is really nice. But yeah, it's rough. The Centigores are being terror-routed off by the Doom Wheel, which is, in and of itself is very low. It's mostly just these two Gorbals fighting in this center pocket at this point. I say fighting. What's actually happening is they're mostly getting punted around by the Hoopty cart, but you know, if he is able to get some attack animations onto these Rat Ogres here, he will do quite a bit of damage. Looks like he's giving one of those Plague Monks there. And yeah, the Gorbals are fighting. They're trying to hold back this big blob here, but obviously there's just too many Skaven troops to really hold on to. I mean, there's just so many here, and the Beastman forces are relatively tattered. What is left is trying to be brought back into the fight here to support. Honestly, all things considered, though, the balance of power is pretty close. A lot of that is because of the Cygor here. But let's see if he's able to get this Cygor into melee and potentially, like, stomp out the Doom Wheel, for example. He could come back into this game here. It looks like he's doing quite a bit of damage to this infantry here. Let's see, the Cygor's not taking too much damage yet. He looks like he's devolving to around 50% HP, so he's still got some time. But if Malagor gets terrified by the Doom Wheel, the Beastmen are going to have a hard time holding their leadership together. That being said, you know, the Grey Seer is just about down from the just persistence of these Gorbals, despite getting punted continuously, just continuing to try and go after this Grey Seer here and just do damage to him. If they can take out the Skaven leadership, can potentially do a lot of damage here. But yeah, the Skaven cart animation is going to be just the bane of Gorbal here. He's going to really struggle to get any hits effectively. So yeah, same thing with this other Gorbal here. You can see the Plague cart just going to be pushing him around, not really allowing him to get effective attack animations. So yeah, let's see how things shake out though. The Cygor is about to go down, which is going to spike the balance of power back in the Skaven's favor. So that might be the end for the Beastmen. Although this unit of Rat Ogres is now shattered, so a lot of these other units are going to be pretty susceptible to terror routing at this point. Plague Monks do still have their Frenzy for the moment, meaning they're immune to Psychology, but it looks like that just barely dropped actually, so now they're going to be susceptible to terror routing. And indeed, the terror does take hold, so as soon as this Cygor drops though and that terror is gone, things are going to be really rough for the Beastmen. You know, I say that. They've got a lot of troops regrouping here, a lot of mobile troops too, and a rear charge from some Hounds and some Centaurs would do wonders to take care of the last of these Plague Monks here. And if he could finish off the Skaven, you know, Plague Monks and these Rat Ogres here, he's got a real shot at surrounding and taking down these Plague Priests, and this, with the Grey Seer going down there to the Gorbel, somehow he took him down and bounced off at the same time. I'm not really sure. That takes some serious skill. But they did indeed take the Grey Seer down, which is the important part. You can see that's tipped the balance of power into the Beastman's favor, nice and proper, despite the Cygor finally going down. The Skaven's leadership is getting very, very shaky with the loss of the Grey Seer there, and this Plague Priest taking so much burst damage too from finally getting surrounded and able to be attacked by, you know, a Malagor, the Gorbel, and the Centaurs also getting attack animations, or the Bestigor rather. So, Gorbel, holy cow, dude, come on. Will you learn not to just charge head first and bounce off a cart someday? We can only hope. But very well played to Spaniard and RomulanDawg. Once again, Spaniard taking a narrow win against the Skaven there. I definitely thought he was behind the 8-ball there for a little bit. The Skaven rush was very, very strong, but actually that Vanguard situation ended up being very beneficial because he kind of had that reserve, that second line to come in the second and third quarter and really just take the Skaven forces from behind and end up mopping up a lot of their weakened units and clearing out a lot of chaff, which then allowed the Gorbals to finally get the work done they needed to on those large targets. So very well played to both players. Obviously Doomwheel getting an XP Chevron, Rat Ogres as well. Not too surprising, they took out some high-value infantry in the Bestigor herd, who mostly got crushed there. Only one unit managed to rack up quite a few kills. But yeah, very well played. Let's go ahead and jump straight to Game 4. And this time, Spaniard's taken the Greenskins, and RomulanDawg has taken my very own Big Bird. Yes, indeed. Forces of Chaos going to be fighting up against the Greenskins, and looks like we've got some Trolls. So RomulanDawg taking Big Bird, 4 Marauders on foot. We've got an Aspiring Champion for leadership support, a couple of Forsaken, a Chariot, Chaos Knight with Lances, which I really, really like, Poison Warhounds, and 4 Armored Chaos Trolls. For Spaniard, we've got Azag on Skullmuncher, no doubt. 4 Black Orcs, 2 Orc Biggins, we've got the Rusty Airs, Broken Tusk Mob, 3 Meat Shield Gobbos, the Unbreakable Gobbos with the Fanatics, the 8-Peak Loonies, and another unit of Night Goblin Archers. So let's see how this goes. We've seen how effective the Trolls can be previously, so, you know, potentially there's less missiles here for Spaniards, so I believe it's going to be a bit rougher for him to deal with. The mobile firing squad, when we had this matchup previously with the mirror, you know, of what we have currently, the mobile firing squad ended up being a really clutch part of that game. So let's see, without the mobile firing squad, how things go. There's also a lot more Trolls here. In the last game, we only had 2 Trolls, whereas this one we've got 4 units of these Armored Chaos Trolls. So let's see. Big Bird as well. I actually really like this pick against the Greenskins because the Gobbo firing squad is so scary. It makes bringing Kolek a little bit of a risk. Big Bird with that heavy missile resistance is going to be a lot more immune to the Gobbo missile fire, so let's see how he's able to do with it. Big Bird's spell loadout looks like Final Transmutation. Interesting. I haven't seen this spell too much, so I'm interested to see how it does. Searing Doom as well, so Chaos Force is just going to be charging all across the main line here, not wasting any time, just getting into these Gobbos, trying to roll them up as quick as possible, and then immediately just force pathing the Trolls through onto the second line so they get the full shock damage onto those Black Orcs. Really, really nice play for the Chaos player so far. It does look like that Final Transmutation is going to be dropped. One thing I did notice in what little testing I have done of Final Transmutation is that it seems to kill off unit models pretty quickly, which is potentially much more meaningful against a lower model count unit like Black Orcs, for example. If you can kill, you know, 4 or 5 Black Orcs, that's going to make a, you know, pretty sizable dent in the unit, all things considered. Is it really worth that much Winds of Magic? I'm not really sure, but Overcast, Doom, and Darkness being thrown down there to help terrify away those Chaos Trolls. You can see this flank has been won pretty decisively by the Greenskins so far, but as the Trolls regroup and, sorry, they're going in here, as they get kind of second wave charge, they're going to do a lot of shock damage. And yeah, Azag continuing to keep Doom and Darkness on those Chaos Marauders to just keep them away from the fight. Out on the periphery, we've got Biggins fighting Forsaken out here. The Forsaken actually are losing to the Orc Biggins, interestingly enough. Looks like trolls are regrouping here out on the periphery. Broken Tusk Mob cleaning up what's left of those Chaos Knights with lances. Not sure what exactly happened in that situation. Sorry I missed it, guys, but I guess the Chaos Knights with lances must have just lost straight up to the Broken Tusk Mob. Not really sure there, but it does look like Chariots getting into the second line here. Going to be riding through these Gobbo Archers, compromising the firing line here, which is exactly what needs to happen. Obviously, you know, Big Bird's relatively immune to the firing line, but his infantry and trolls definitely are not. So he needs to get in here and blow these Gobbos away, and it does look like, oh man, this is my favorite animation. He's got this little Gobbo in his staff, and poor little dude is just having the ride of his life, no doubt. But he's going to swing that Gobbo around with his staff, and yeah, it's just the coolest animation in the game, in my opinion. Just smacks him into the ground. So cool. Azag is going to be chasing down Big Bird here, trying to get some attack animations in. But Broken Tusk Mob looks like to be supporting as well, so all of a sudden Big Bird's in a little bit of a precarious situation, but he's got trolls coming in from support from this side, trolls coming in from support from the other side, and the trolls are going to come in here and do a lot of shock damage to the Broken Tusk Mob. This is a really, really bad situation for Spaniard. You can see this Broken Tusk Mob taking a ton of shock damage there, and they're probably going to be routed off from that troll charge there, all things considered. There are a couple healthy unit of Black Orcs left alive. There's another unit of Orc Biggins out here that's relatively healthy as well, helping with the 8 Peak Loonies, 13 of which are still fighting, valiant little Gobbos that they are. The Aspiring Champions being routed off in the center there, so no more leadership support except from Big Bird. This unit of Chaos Trolls has been routed with the Doom of Darkness and, you know, the Terror and everything, but the Chariots also coming in, and it's interesting, I've done this a few times myself, with using Chariots to actually pin a Lord on the ground, so they're actually keeping Azag on the ground here. He's not able to get back up in the air because of the Chariots. But they are going to be routed off relatively shortly. You can see they're taking a lot of armor-piercing anti-large damage from the Broken Tusk Mob, who themselves just got terrified away. Trolls coming in. You can see just a wildly back-and-forth game at this point. This really heated engagement all around Big Bird here in the center. But the Trolls are here supporting. Azag is currently being circle-beaten by quite a few Trolls, and in a really tight situation. Down to only 500 HP and dropping rapidly. He's probably going to be routed off here, if not killed. So, very unfortunate. You can see that has tipped the bounce power towards the Forces of Chaos ever so slightly. And yeah, Azag is going to be going down here. So the loss of leadership, as always for the Greenskins, is going to be very tough. Big Bird and his troll army here, no pun intended, it is actually literally a troll army, is doing very well. Another final transmutation going down. You can see those fanatics being released from the few Goblins who are still alive. It's clutch that they are still alive. You know, all 6 of them. They can release the fanatics who almost outnumber them at this point. 4 fanatics to 6 Gobbos. Makes sense. But, you know, Big Bird going to be riding through this mainline battle here. The Aspiring Champions look like they came back from routing, and the Orc Biggins, unfortunately, probably aren't going to stand up to this Terror route. They are winning currently, which is helping their morale, but once it dips too low, they're going to Terror route away. The Black Orcs look like they're holding for now. They're helping to mop up some of this infantry, but you can see the Troll charge. The Trolls are coming. They are coming over the hill, and just 1 unit's engaged. We've got 2 more units coming in, just all angry, just full of vomit and bile, and going to be charging into this mass of Black Orcs here and pretty much finishing them off. So very well played to both players. Very cool to see this full Troll Rush build work, and it actually worked very well in this situation. You know, kind of as I was saying before, the mobile Gobbo firing squad is what, you know, was able to win RomulanDawg this matchup in the first game, and now in the mirror of that, he's able to win once again with Chaos by using the Trolls, just more Trolls this time, being very aggressive with them, and just continuing to bring them back every time they rally, keeping them in the fight and fighting healthy. And yeah, it's going to be pretty much a win for Chaos. You can see there's still a little bit of time on the bounce power at this point, but it's pretty much just going to be Big Bird and his Troll squad going around and gooning these isolated Greenskin units. Spaniard's doing what he should and trying to form up some kind of ranks here. He's got these guys formed up in a little bit of a line here, but it's just not going to be enough at this point. The balance power is too far behind. Azag's gone, and he's going to be able to catch and kill this unit of Biggins here. And yeah, just the shock damage from the Troll charge in the end is just going to massacre what's left of the Greenskins, and it will be a win for RomulanDawg. So we've got an even series, 2-2 each. Very well played to both players. Let's see, 86 kills and 3 chevrons on those Black Orcs. Man, true patriots of the Greenskins. But not quite enough to fend off Big Bird with his 93 kills. Pretty solid all around. I'd be curious to see how many of those were actually from the final transmutation. I might have to try that against lower model count units and just see how it does. The Chaos Knights with Lances didn't perform as well as I thought they would. They kind of got caught out there by the Broken Tusk Mob, which are, you know, really good heavy shot cavalry, one of the best in the game, I think, especially for their cost. But these guys, I really like them in this matchup. They just unfortunately didn't perform in this. The Chaos Chariot, though, 75 kills for its cost, really nice. One of the Forsaken did well, the other one kind of got crushed by Biggins. Yeah, Trolls, though, were the true MVPs here. 68, 61, 36 chevrons all across the board. Very well played to both players. So let's go to the final of the finals. Yes, indeed, Game 5 here. Going to be High Elves against Wood Elves. So this, in my opinion, is a really tough matchup for the Wood Elves, so I'm curious to see how RomulanDawg does. Spaniard's got Techless, 4 Spearmen, 4 White Lions, 4 Archers, 2 Lothern Seaguard with shields, and 2 Dragon Princes for a very wide High Elf army, which is not something you typically see. Obviously, the High Elves are known for being a very elite army, so this is pretty much as cheap as you can go, just about, obviously, aside from the Dragon Princes. But yeah, Dragon Princes are very good in this matchup. Starfires will do pretty much nothing to them. You know, they'll hands down just stomp Wild Riders. They're very good against low armor infantry. So really the only way for the Wood Elves to deal with them is something like Prey of Anathrema and then rush them with Azrai Spears. As you can see, RomulanDawg has Durthu, which is an interesting pick. You know, the Elves don't have a lot of anti-large armor piercing options other than like a Phoenix Guard, which you wouldn't typically take in this matchup. So Durthu is an interesting pick. It's kind of a counter meta pick, and I do like that quite a bit. He's also got the Spell Singer. We've got a smattering of Wild Riders deployed all around the map here. We've got looks like Dryads here and some War Dancers here, and you know, I thought there were Wild Riders all over the place, but it looks like actually just up here. We've got War Dancers with Azrai Spears. Let's see, more Sword Dancers. We've got Durthu, the Spell Singer. So actually looking to be more of like a Death Star type formation with just some scattered Dryads. There's the Wild Rider I was looking for, way off in the corner here. Just kind of trolling around, but yeah, so definitely very smart play by RomulanDawg, sitting up on this hill, going to be taking up a commanding position. And yeah, the one issue though is as Spaniard advances here, you know, the woods are going to help. They're going to take quite a bit of the missile fire here, but he's going to be able to pull up in range, and unless, you know, RomulanDawg wants to just sit in the forest and take the fire, which I definitely don't advise, he needs to push forward and attack, so he is going to have to come probably down out of the woods a little bit here, depending on how Spaniard plays this. I'd imagine if I were in Spaniard's position, I would just pull up in range, let my guys start unloading on the edge of the forest here, and just kind of force the Wood Elves to come out and down the hill. But let's see how it plays out here. These Dryads and the War Dancers just kind of content to sit here. They're advancing slowly up the hill, just kind of getting into a nice ambush position. Obviously, if they were to reveal themselves too early on, these Dragon Princes would just come and crush them. So they need to be careful about the time they deploy. And the other thing that really concerns me about what the High Elves have here is there's so many Archers. High Elf Archers are really good against low armor targets. They have fast reload rates. Lothern Seaguard, of course, have shields as well. And just for the cheap, you know, regular High Elf Archers, they're very cost effective for how much damage they can put out on low armor targets. Of course, the Wood Elves have plenty of those, especially the War Dancers. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Not really sure how these War Dancers took the damage that they took, but you know, I guess we'll never know. Let's go ahead and fast forward just a little bit here as the army's kind of repositioned a little bit. And it does look like a nice Flock of Doom going down there, and wow, another Flock of Doom in response here. So just kind of trading tit for tat at this point. Durthu and Teklas trading Flock of Dooms back and forth. But it does look like the Wood Elves are going to advance, and this is exactly what I was saying Spaniard should do, is just set up. He's slightly on the opposite slope, which means as the Wood Elves advance, they're going to actually either fight on even ground or slightly uphill gradient, which is unfavorable, obviously, towards the Wood Elves. And the Archers are going to be able to fire with impunity here as the Wood Elves try and rush them. You can see these War Dancers are taking a savage amount of fire from the High Elves here. Really rough, and immediately going to be charged by Dragon Princes as well. This unit of War Dancers is done for. They're going to be gone right out of the gates, and the Dragon Princes overrunning, doing quite a bit of damage to the Eternal Guards as well. A lot of these Eternal Guards don't have shields, which means they're also going to take a lot of damage from the bow fire. The Vanguard unit's just a little bit out of position, not able to really get in the back line quick enough to stop a lot of damage from being done. That being said, you know, he's doing some nice damage here to these spearmen as well. Another Flock of Doom going to be doing some nice damage in this center pocket. And Durthu is going to be pretty tough to take down. You know, the Wood Elves don't have a lot of units that are... They don't have any units, in fact, that are a direct counter to Durthu. At this point, they're getting a lot of value shooting up these War Dancers. The Azrai Spear Dancers here pretty much gone. You can see the Sword Dancers there gone. This unit of Sword Dancers is just about gone. Soon they're going to be starting to turn their attention to the Eternal Guards here. The Dragon Princes have taken a bit of damage on this side, and this one has also taken a little bit of damage over on this side. But so far the engagement is definitely favoring the High Elves. You can see the balance of power is already turning in their favor. But the back line has been compromised. War Dancers and Wild Riders now coming in. You can see the Wild Riders have gotten into the chicken coop and going to be just annihilating this unit of archers, immediately overrunning. You can see the Azrai Spears also just chasing on these Dragon Princes. Are going to be catching them out here. Nice Flock of Doom from Techless, though. Or actually looks like that was from Durthu. It's so hard to tell whose Flock of Doom is whose. But yeah, that unit of Elven Archers is going to be mopped up. These Lothern Sea Guard, as well as this unit of Elven Archers, is also mopped up. So a timely compromise of the back line has brought this back in winnable reach for RomulanDawg here. He's definitely still got a shot, even though a lot of his infantry is already pretty tattered. These Eternal Guards are holding out valiantly here in the center, doing some nice armor-piercing damage on the White Lions. They'll trade pretty cost-effectively in that engagement, I would imagine. Durthu himself, obviously, with his heavy AP, has been rarely challenged here. He's still pretty much full health. He's barely been touched. So it's going to be tough. Techless doesn't have Flaming Sword of Ruin, I don't think. Let's go ahead and just check. No, just Flock of Doom and Nets. So it's going to be tough. Durthu's got Sword of Daith and Flock of Doom, as well as Wisdom's Wild Form, I believe. I don't think I've seen him use it, but he's going to be stomping around on Techless here. Techless is definitely going to have to use his mobility to get away, or else, yeah, he's going to suffer the price here. And, oh man, that hit might have killed Techless. It does look like he's got the ordered path to get away. Techless is going to get away there just barely, but he did take a lot of damage, unfortunately. Looks like the Potion of Troy going to be popped to heal him up, and another brutal Flock of Doom just catching a ton of these High Elf units here. You can see the Dragon Princes are getting very, very low. Wild Riders, though, getting tangled up with them is not ideal for the Wild Riders. They're going to be trying to pull away there, but the Dragon Princes are very fast for a heavy shock cavalry. Going to be tough to catch, although the terror is now kicking in. Dragon Princes being terrified away. Techless also being terrified away as well, so what initially looked like a really rough situation for the Wood Elves, RomulanDawg has been able to claw his way back, just staying tight and staying focused with Durthu, getting on the appropriate targets, and catching Techless and getting the damage on him was really nice. Now Durthu's coming in on a side charge and just going to be terrifying away a lot of his units here. That doesn't mean the higher speed Wood Elf units are going to be able to potentially chase them down, but there are still quite a few White Lions here. Another brutal Flock of Doom from Durthu going down, going to be tearing away at these relatively healthy White Lions here, which are pretty much the only unit that's left for the Wood Elves at this point. I mean, they do have some tattered, you know, Dragon Princes and so on here, who are trying to spring Techless loose, but it does look like he got caught and killed by those Wild Riders up here on the hill, so Techless is down. The High Elves still have very good leadership just as a base, even though for the first time the balance of power is indeed in the Wood Elves' favor, and Durthu just stomping the yard here in the center line, going to be trying to push his way up the hill towards the archers. I honestly think he should just stand and fight and try and kill as many of these White Lions as possible. The non-AP missiles of the High Elves are going to do relatively little damage to him here. The AP of the White Lions is really the only thing that's a major threat to him, and obviously the anti-large of the spears, if given enough time, could potentially work him down. But he's probably got a couple more Flocks of Doom in his pocket, so just waiting for a you know, nice opportune blob to get as much value as possible out of it. Wild Riders were unfortunately routed off, I believe, by those Dragon Princes. No, actually still on the field, going to be catching these archers here. They're just ahead of those Wild Riders, but as soon as they catch the archers, they are going to get rear charged by the Dragon Princes there. So it is a bit unfortunate. They're probably going to rout off those archers, do quite a bit of shock damage, and it does look like they're trying to pull away as the Dragon Princes catch. A few of their unit models going to be taking a few of them down, but they will be able to get away there. Durthu is standing in the main pocket, like I was saying. He is starting to take quite a bit of AP damage, though. Yeah, it looks like he's got an attack order path on. I'm not sure exactly. There we go, finally dropping the hammer and the roots down on some of these guys, but at this point it's a little bit dicey. You know, the High Elves are starting to come back a little bit. Durthu's taking a little bit of work. it's just tough. Without the Flocks of Doom, he needs maybe 1 or 2 more Flocks of Doom to bust up this big blob here, or a nice rear charge from these Wild Riders would be great as well. But it does look like the Wild Riders have their sights set on those archers. Unfortunately, they're going to be caught in the side by those Dragon Princes there, and then Spearmen coming in. This is a really bad engagement for the Wild Riders. They're going to be finished off here, and unfortunately now Durthu, just without any support, he's not going to be able to carry this on his own. Despite his physical resistance and the armor and everything, he's going to get worn down just through pure attrition here without any support. So it is going to be a win for Spaniard, and he'll take the best of 5 in what has been an amazing series. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I know that's 5 of the best battles I've seen, definitely in Mortal Empires. And yeah, I know there's been a lot of Tomb Kings footage recently. Unfortunately, I'm not cool enough yet to get Tomb King's early access, but you know, in due time. Hope you guys enjoyed this in the meantime. I know I sure enjoyed watching this series. It's been a lot of fun, you know, to kind of watch through these different tournament replays. There's been a ton of great games, and I wish I could show more, but this is what we've got for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Well played to Spaniard and RomulanDawg, both who you know, showed themselves very well in this tournament. Spaniard, I believe, got to the finals of number 3, spoiler alert, so we'll be taking a look at that tomorrow. But yeah, that's all for today. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'm keeping it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content every single day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.